G'day, Eric Bakker here again with another question, a frequently asked question regarding yeast infection. Does stress cause yeast infections? Stress causes many different problems in the body, many different problems. And a good way for you probably to look at it from this angle is that about 90% of all visits to the doctor are because of a stress-related complaint. So stress has an amazingly insidious effect on the immune system. In the initial stages of stress, when a person's under high stress, they will have heightened hormone response. They'll have more cortisol and more adrenaline. In particular, the adrenals are going to pump out more of these hormones to allow you to cope with the acute manifestations of stress. However, once stress continues unabated, you keep having these problems long term, relationship problems or money problems, many different types of issues that face us on a day-to-day basis. When they become chronic and long term, even though low grade, they'll have a depleting effect on the adrenal system, on what we call the HPA stress axis. And over time, these hormones actually will not only decrease in quantity, but their activity will decrease in the body. The cells become less responsive, requiring even more hormones to be pumped out and produced. And then over a period of time, it's just not really going to happen. And you slowly slide into a condition we call adrenal fatigue. I'm going to explain a lot more about the adrenal yeast connection in other videos. But stress is certainly implicated with yeast infections. How do you know it's caused? That yeast infections are caused by stress? Well, if you have a look at my book, I think it's page 469 in my book, you can read a lot more about the adrenal connection, stress connection with immunity. Have a look at the other type of problems that you may be facing, like fatigue, insomnia, irritability in particular. There are different ways that stress can affect you in terms of a yeast infection. But first thing I would ask you, what type of stresses have you faced in the past several years? Can you remember any stressful events which preceded the diagnosis of this yeast infection, for example? There's often a link there. If you think carefully, you'll find a connection there. So as cortisol goes down further and further, it's going to be harder for your immune system to stay strong, which will increase your susceptibility and reduce your resistance. I generally draw a line for a patient when I see them to explain this concept, and I'll put susceptibility on one side and resistance on the other side, and I'll draw a little triangle here in the middle. And as your susceptibility decreases, your resistance goes up. And as, vice versa will happen. When this goes down, this goes up. So as things are getting harder for you to cope with and you become more stressed, your resistance goes down and your susceptibility will come up. And I call these events contributing to that health busters. Health builders are things you can do to increase your resistance and reduce your susceptibility. So in other videos, I'll explain my concept on health builders and health busters in much more detail. So to answer this question, does stress cause yeast infections? Absolutely. There's a huge link between them both. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you.